What's the deal, Everyday Shooter fam? It's J Shep, aka Everyday Shooter, here back again. Now today, what I'm gonna be going over is, I know a lot of people probably coming up in the summer will be doing a lot of traveling through the airports and whatnot. And for some of those people that are gonna be traveling, they want to be traveling heavy, or they want to carry, their weapons, to whatever destination it is that they're going to, whether it be for protection or they're going to an event. Like myself, a lot of people probably heard of the regular meetup that's going to be happening in May. And in order to participate, I want to be able to bring some of my firearms with me. Now, you got a couple of different options. You can go break the bank and purchase, gun cases and things like that will allow you to get through the airport and all that. But I'm not trying to pay some of the prices that they're asking. Like, I know Pelican is a good example of one of the companies that offers cases for you to carry said items through the airport. Now, I'm going to be trying to take a few different rifles, so it's not like I can just take a one gun case. So they got options for that too. But the thing is, those cases are hella expensive. So like, I looked on there, I think for a 3 or 4 gun case, they was talking something like around $400 or $500. That ain't in the wheelhouse for me. So first thing I thought was, I got cases, but they're not specifically gun cases. So I'm trying to convert a case that I have, which is a Foot Locker that I used to use back in the Gap when I was back in college, to bring my stuff from the dorm to the house. So what I did is I took one of the cases that I had already in the garage, and I'm going to convert it into a gun case and save probably a few $100s on that case. So what I did was I decided to go ahead and document what I did to make that change, or convert it over from a Foot Locker over into a gun case. Hopefully this will help you. If not, just give you something to watch. But let's go ahead and go through the steps, and I'll show you what I did and what I came up with. All right, so first things first, we got to go ahead and mark off where the edge of this foam is going to hit the edge of our trunk. So you see I've already lined it up. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it kind of like a triple-decker sandwich with 4 pieces of bread. Feel me? All right, so since we cut it off, or lined where we're going to cut it off, where this is the one end of the trunk, that's the other end of the trunk. And these aren't long enough for the rifle to fit in just straight up. So I'm going to have to break them down into 2 pieces, the upper and lower. All right. So as you see here, I've already got it lined up, right? So next thing I gotta do is place it on the foam where I want the cutouts to be. Take my little Sharpie and just trace the outline of the rifle. Traced, right? That's one half of it. So next thing we got to do is go ahead and line up the lower. All right. So you see we got it traced now, right? So we gotta do is take our X-Acto knife and then cut along the trace lines, right? So it's gonna sit down into the foam a little bit, right? So we gotta cut it. All right, now we're going to start digging out a little bit, right? Since we made our outline, now we want to dig out the foam so that the rifle will sit inside it. Alright, so I'm gonna go ahead and cut this here because I know y'all don't want to sit here and watch me do this entire thing, but I'll come back to you when I get it to the next part, okay? Alright, so that's the general idea. When you do this for both the upper and the lower, I'll get back to you when I finish the lower as well, so they're gonna both sit in there, alright? So far, so good, right? Disregard the toys. Lord have mercy. Alright, so now you see. They sit in there both real nice and snug. Got cushion on the bottom of it, and then I have to do the same thing for this other piece. Right? You just keep doing that. Just flip this over once you set it on there and do the same thing. Right? So you do this for all the guns. I'm gonna check back with you after I finish this one. Well, I'll tell you what. I'm gonna show you how to flip it over first. I'm gonna take this one here, line it up with the end. Take this, flip it over just like that. Right? Push it down. You just move this over like that. This over a little bit like that so that they are even, lined up. Make sure you don't have nothing sticking out the other side, right? That off and repeat the same process on this one. All right, so we've got our first level, we've got our second level. Okay, so next thing we gotta do is our next gun. So we'll go ahead and put this on here, make sure that it lines up. Next, what we gotta do is we gotta trace it out, right? Trace it out. All right, so now that we got the back side traced on the inside of our double decker, or triple decker, then do the same thing that we did with the first one. Cut it out, right? So you don't want to cut it all the way through because remember there's another gun on the other side of this. So kind of gotta cut it just deep enough so that it sits inside because you want to still have that cushion between the two. All right. So we got our second way done. Again, check again. You gotta just line up your edges. And do what we do. Alright guys, so we're on to the fourth and final gun of our gun case, right? So this one here is built a little bit differently, so the receiver doesn't stick out really any further. The lower receiver doesn't really stick out any further than the upper receiver. So it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to disassemble it to put it in there. Instead, I'm just gonna fold it over and I'm gonna put a little window for this fold over stock, this Zukov stock, so that it's gonna kind of just sit in the middle of the foam and the rest of the gun is gonna sit a little bit inside of it, right? All right, so let's try it. go a little bit deeper because this one has got to go all the way through, right? Nice. All right, so now that we've got our stock window cut, we just want to go ahead and should be able to just cut a little bit out of the other side of our foam that's going to be on top, so that it kind of sits in there. It shouldn't need to do too much on this side because the Zucov stock is already kind of set deep down in there. So what do y'all think? What do y'all think? You think we should cut a little bit on this side? I'll tell you what, we'll wait. We'll do it on the other side first and see if we need to, because there's no need to cut it if we don't need to. But there we have our window. See it? Let's see. There you go. See that a little bit better? There's our window. Flip, just like we did the other one. Do our little pancake flip. Gotta make sure we line it up on both sides, both ends. Take this. There we go. Okay. So now, take this and trace it just like we did all the others. All right, so now we got both sides cut, right? We got it set nicely in there. It's not cut too deep, so we can still set it on top of our others, right? All right, so next thing we gotta do is cut the ends off so that it fits inside of our trunk snugly, so it's not gonna be shifting around, bouncing around, things like that. All right, I waited to do that last because just in case, you can always cut more off. You can't go back after you cut too much off, okay? Important thing to remember. Y'all see this old raggedy beat up trunk, right? You see how raggedy it is? That doesn't mean, well, it doesn't mean it's not raggedy, it's just old and it's been sitting in the garage. This is what I used to use going back and forth from college to dorm to the house. So I'm gonna go ahead and get all the spider webs and surface dust off of here. Anyway, once we get it all wiped down, next thing we need to do is see where we need to cut our foam pads. All right, so the first one we're gonna put in gonna be this one here. Right. And hi, sweetie. So again, remember, we're gonna cut a little bit further than we need because we can always cut some more off.
Daddy, I pet the duck. I pet the duck. Daddy, I pet the duck.
You pet the duck. All right, so since this is my first time ever putting together my own TSA certified, TSA acceptable gun case, so I figured I'd put on more than just the one lock, and I didn't want to have anybody saying something like, oh, well, you can pry the side open or this and that or whatever, some last minute stuff when I get to the counter. So I'm gonna go ahead and put 2 more clamps on it to where I can put 2 more locks on it. All right, so you may be wondering, how did I do that? Basically, I just went on Amazon, found these right here. They're basically just some extra clamps that you can put on, so they give you a little added extra security on your case, right? So what I'm gonna do is go ahead and use this drill bit that I got from Home Depot, along with this clamp or latch, whatever you want to call it, that I got from Amazon. This is about $12 to $13 on Amazon. This is about $3 here, and some number 10 by 3/4 inch machine screws. All right, so put this on one side and put the little all right, so we put these in along with the latches on both edges or both ends of the trunk, along with the latches that come with the trunk and the lock eyelet that's already on the trunk. So we'll have a total of 3 locking points along with 4 latch points for the case. That should be good enough to get us through TSA, right? All right, so we got the top little lip part on. Now we're gonna go to the bottom, which is easier. Just as easy. All you're gonna do is go ahead and make your little spots for you to drill through. You don't want to drill too far into there if you got anything in it, but if you don't, it doesn't really matter. here you have the finished product. Hope this helped. Y'all have a good one. Peace.